right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a sound and visual check. Can you guys hear me? And how about you, Nick? We got you tonight.
We do indeed. Everyone here and see us just fine. I hope so.
I mean, sounds good for me. Sounds good. Love it. That's my favorite part about the evenings is when that happens and everything starts to work out at the very beginning.
Yep. I have gotten caught a few times on my Sunday show where I just start rambling in my intro, just kind of going, flowing a little bit in the first few minutes, and then Andrew pings me being like, "Hey, we can't hear you." And I'm just like, "Oops."
Yeah, you have
Apparently
a little bit
I have
of
an echo.
Yeah, I know it's me. I had you on blast because I was listening. In the green room, I was listening to some Spanish music, jamming out, and I had you on blast, Nick. He goes, I sit down to get the Slow Markets live class started, and he's like, "Sounds like my housekeeper's here." Oh man, how was your trading day today, Nick?
It was pretty light. My live account now, excuse me, my old XFAs from last week the balance got transferred at some point today to my live account. So those are active. I can now kind of focus and trade my live account with a much larger balance again. So I'm going to be focusing on that. I really didn't trade it much today. I focused on combines. This is historically the type of day we had today is my least favorite type of price action, where there's one breakout and then you basically have to close your eyes and buy it the rest of the day. And if you even give the market a hint of you trying to short, you might have 2 points or like a stop at break even type situation where you can get out unscathed. Otherwise, it's going to rip you another 30, 40 points to the upside, especially on NQ. And that's pretty much what happened today. But luckily for me, I went to a clay shooting charity event here in Texas. So I got to get out early and, go give back and do an event that's for like basically children in the outdoors community and things like that. It's a good organization here in Dallas. But I got to do that, shoot some clays, have some fun, and, be outside today rather than be chopped up by this up and to the right market that looks like it was today. How did you do?
I did pretty good, and you could see. I mean, I have my live account. Let me see if I could move you down just a little bit, and still showing my profits. I mean that's how I did today, plus
Nice.
$2,200 in my live account. I haven't traded yet tonight. I was playing around in some combines, testing out a slow market scalp strategy for the open at. But other than that, not much. Let's just get started. What I did forget is our Topstep risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. As always, this is not a signals class. It's for educational purposes only. We all know that. Everyone here should know that. If not, feel free to go through and read it, memorize it. I mean, just like we're studying for our Series 3, you guys should study that risk disclosure. So you don't have to worry about saying I followed this guy on YouTube and I blew my own account. So we don't want that. Pure education. And that being said, let's dive into this. I have the NASDAQ on the daily charts. One thing I wanted to touch base. We were live together on Fast Markets yesterday to start the week. And I just can't stop thinking, listening to Peter Tuchman, he dropped some subtle hints. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he was just joking or not. And I kind of want to go back and rewatch that where he was just saying something. I don't know what he said, but he was just like, then tomorrow we could just rally. Something like that. And it stuck with me all yesterday and all last night. And then today, we did just that. Do you remember, did you watch him yesterday come on TopstepTV? It feels like he knew something. I don't know. It was pretty weird.
I must have missed, I guess, what he was alluding to. I'd have to go back and watch it. Naturally, when you and I get off the air, sometimes I just take at least a few minutes to get off screen and take a bio break, grab some water, grab some food, whatever, and then come back. So you sometimes miss Tuchman when he's coming on shortly after Fast Markets. But no, I'll have to go back. I don't know if it's just we went to, we opened the Sunday Globex, and Monday we were at the top of this kind of balance range, and then yesterday and the early parts of the overnight today, or I guess last night, excuse me, we kind of were near the bottom of that range, and now we just rotated back to the top. So I mean, it could be something as simple as that it's just there's not a ton of interest in transacting price higher or lower. We're just continuing to be range bound. I don't know. But I don't know what exactly
he loves technicals. Yeah, he loves technicals. It just always, whenever someone's been around the markets for so long, and he's on the New York Stock Exchange floor every day, basically, and he's there and he's moving money, and the people around him are doing the same thing. Sometimes maybe it's just a gut feeling. Maybe he's more involved than we are behind our computer monitors. He's actually there hearing people with, large amounts of money. He has trading buddies. He has such a huge network. I could only imagine, but it was just kind of funny. Maybe it's just one of those things where, I know he's a perma bull man, like great man after myself. Maybe maybe I could learn a thing or two from him, or maybe he could learn a thing or two from watching Topstep TV. I don't know what we have to offer other than some awesome music and camaraderie, but it was an interesting thing. I figured I'd bring it up. But here on the daily chart, and then chime in if you have anything to add. I'll switch to you in just a moment. Yesterday we were just right in the middle of this consolidation zone, right around 20,000, and it was honestly a coin flip to me, whether we sell off and maybe test the bottom of the range or even have a chance to come down to 19,600s, or if we come back up to these highs. It looks like it's up to these highs. Now I'm looking at this market. Is this a higher low? And I think this can be a possibility that this is a higher low in this market. And can we see another big day up and breaking through these 600s and maybe come up and test these 800s? We do have FOMC minutes tomorrow. Those are just the past minutes, correct, Nick?
Yeah, that'd be last meeting, which will not necessarily be interesting to read, but just kind of get some of the, I guess, the algo talking points that people read into a little bit, since it was the first time they cut. And, albeit wasn't the most telegraphed 50 basis point cut, I think up into the last week going into it, everyone was still thinking 25 basis points. So maybe there's more in the, the meeting minutes that give, some aspect of, what alluded to it, like what was behind it, what did they see, and why was that ultimately the right choice? Why was that the majority in theory? So I'm curious to kind of actually see it. It may actually move the market more than it has in the past. So it could be interesting as that comes out, what we do, where we are trading, and if it provides us some actionable volatility, or if it's just going to run people over in both directions, much like FOMC.
My vote is for running people over in both directions.
Why not?
Why not? But we are set up. We're at an interesting area. There's 20,270s. And I'm bullish, obviously. I like to see if we can push up to these 500, 600s, break through that, and see, can we see a run to up here, these 20,800s? Possibly. Let's go ahead and zoom into an hourly chart. And we've seen just that. You can see it. It's a lot clearer on the hourly chart. This consolidation, we came down. We're making a higher low. That was a higher low. We did come up and we tested this resistance. This was resistance before, and sure enough, it became resistance again. If we break through that, the level of the zone that I'm seeing is going to be around 380s. And then last but not least, of course, we had a little bit right there at 450s. And then, this is just a big consolidation zone between 400 and 500. And then it's off to the races. You have your air horn out ready, right? I have my stream deck, and I told the chat to hold me to it to get mine set up by the end of the month.
Yeah, I need to do that too, because I need to get hotkeys, as well as it would make my life just a little bit easier on my Sunday show just to have a few buttons preset So we're gonna do that. I need to stop being so lazy. I have to move my office, so it just gives me another excuse as I'm resetting things up, rewiring things to just get it done, just like I need to get done studying for the Series 3.
Oh, I'm taking mine on the 18th. Mine on the 18th. Ooh, I gotta see how. That reminds me, Coach Jay, are you in the chat? Did you take your Series 3? Was it today or was it yesterday? I need to find that out. I seen him somewhere. He was lurking. I need to find out. I'm sending him a message right now, and we'll see.
Maybe he's taking it right now. Oh, he's taking it again.
Oh, now that has me scared. That has me scared, Coach Jay. I know you've been studying, and it's not a. I mean, that's your first time. I mean, taking a Series 3 is not a joke. Like, there's a reason why there's licensing for it. 100%.
I did have a conversation with a buddy of mine who did pass the classic bar exam in his various state, and I had told him at one point, this was probably a month or two ago when I first started studying, that I was just going to wing a practice test and study like an all-nighter on a Sunday and take the Series 3 on a Monday. And his logic was basically, if you can do that, I have a lot of concerns for people that give financial advice in the United States. If you can just, fire at the hip and go walk into that testing room with 12 hours basically of studying and pass a financial institution, basically, any sort of financial regulation type test, I have concerns going forward. And I jokingly said back to him, I was like, if I do it, I'm coming for the bar next. So, it is definitely a difficult test. Doing the practice test was no joke. That is 100% truth.
Yes. Commit to the regular to memory math stuff you'll be good on. Okay. That makes sense. Try to take the CFA, Nick. It's broken out. It's not just one test. There's multiple tests on the Chartered Financial Analyst, and that sucker is a beast. It's like 5 Series 3 tests all in one. Every 6 months or every couple times a year. That one's a beast. Need to get more on top of and studying. But that being said, I'm looking to buy this market. We have FOMC minutes tomorrow. That obviously is going to throw a wrench into any technicals. I could see us maybe overnight during the lunch session. Maybe we have a bit of a pullback. It looks like we kind of had one already. I mean, it's not a too big of one, but this was a major resistance. And now maybe this major resistance can come into major support and see if we can come up to these 300s, break through these 300s and find something overnight, or as we're waiting for the minutes to come out, maybe we could see some type of a push up before those minutes. Do you plan on trading tomorrow before that or after?
You definitely will be trading before. I'm on fast market, so I'll see if I can find a good trade for myself for the house account in the mornings. But as usual, if it's past the Euro close and heading into lunchtime, I would rather just lock it up for the day. I don't really want to be a part of the algo spasm that is going to be FOMC minutes. It may not move the market. It may not, drive us one way or the other, but I'm sure it's going to provide, at least in a short time frame, a little volatility that's just going to piss people off. So I'd rather stay away.
Yeah. Here's a question. Why are we all taking a Series 3?
It's a great question.
Do you want me to
I'll let you answer. I can give my response to.
So I don't know. We're just taking it. No.
I like the challenge. No.
We just take tests just because it's fun. But no, in all seriousness, the Series 3, everyone in here should know what the Series 3 is. It's the National Commodities and Futures exam. And the reason why we are taking it, it's not just for fun. It's to show everybody in here and everybody who is at Topstep and watching TopstepTV to show that, to me, it's number one, we're committed. Number two, we love what we do and we know what we're talking about. And credibility, and that's a good one. And I'm sure everybody in the chat could come in and give you 1,000 reasons on why everybody at a company like Topstep, who has influence on the traders who are trying to teach and help them become funded and help them on their journey, and give not financial advice, not trading advice in terms of where to buy and where to sell. We're here for everybody. You see, I'm on here basically Sunday through Thursday. Friday on TopstepTV. You're here a lot, Nick. We're both traders. We trade and we make money from trading, and I get such a amazing and such a high level of fulfillment seeing traders be successful. And whenever I get a message saying, hey, Coach Dakota, I just received my first or second or third payout and it's really changed my life, and something that I said or done or helped them with has helped them get to that in their life, I absolutely love that. And then for new traders, we talk about Robinhood might be having futures on their platform, and we have a lot of new traders up and coming or just getting into this market, and they don't know where to go sometimes, and they're just looking online, and maybe they're running through multiple sources of like, where do I go, where do I find out? And there's so much information online, it could be overwhelming, and sometimes traders get scammed. Sometimes traders get like so caught up on the bells and whistles and the shiny stuff of all this money over here, and someone made all this money over there and over here, and they get lost in the true grind it takes to become successful and not on the right path. And so having a series 3 and having all of us as a community and traders who are talking and helping other traders like me, you, Coach Jay, everybody that's being involved, gives that light and gives that credibility to say, oh, I'm new to futures. That would make sense why I would listen to somebody who knows and is credible to know what they're talking about versus the thousands and thousands of YouTubers and places online where you could just, what is a candlestick? Come follow me. I have this amazing strategy you could pass. And there's so much stuff out there, Nick. So that is why I truly believe, and I'm more than happy to take a series 3 and then anything else that's needed to get to where we need to go.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board to do the same. I actually, kind of diving into this, doing things full time, I'm a little curious on, just not necessarily having, checking the box itself, but for me to get exposure into, well, what would it look like if I wanted to go down the introducing broker route or some of the other potential career paths that I can do with the Series 3 and maybe even, other CFA type ones in the future. But me kind of leaning in and doing this full time, there's going to be, there was even more news this week from Greg Abbott here in Texas about more things for the Texas Stock Exchange. So I'm trying to get more exposure to the financial world and how that may evolve, especially in my home state right now. And, it's for me, since I have the autonomy, it just makes a lot of sense to do, knock it out, get it done, and just continue to evolve my knowledge since I do sit here and trade commodities and futures every day.
Fair enough. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go advanced as that, Nick, in terms of getting involved. Maybe one day. I don't know. We never know where our journey is going to be. I love what I do. That's right. Texas is looking at getting that, or it's official.
It's official. Abbott, I got to look at what the full thing. Greg Abbott, our governor, did something this week, or was talking about the Texas Stock Exchange with, I believe, some of the other large talking heads in the hedge fund world that are also kind of spearheading it with him. I had to look at the article that Dallas Morning News had posted and talked about. So bear with me. But yeah, there was more information on that recently. I hadn't heard anything for a few months, and then it popped up like literally this week.
You're going to be the new Peter Tuckman. We're going to have you live.
I'll be on the floor live in Dallas, Texas.
You'll be giving us the DL.
Taking delivery of Coach DBA's gold contract when he takes his payout. Live on the Texas Stock Exchange.
We were actually just talking about me coming down there to Texas and spending some time together. We can finish talking about that near the end, but I'm not seeing anything else on the NASDAQ. Like I said, FOMC minutes tomorrow, so I wouldn't be surprised of more choppiness until those minutes. On the hourly, it looks like maybe a pullback and maybe we could see a continuation back into these 300s. If I do zoom into a 5-minute chart, it was a trend day. Pretty straightforward and very simple. It's always simple with hindsight. Breakout, pullback, breakout, pullback, breakout, and then maybe we can see this as a pullback and then look for another push higher. I don't know. This is the major resistance, and I want to see this resistance become support. And so there could very well be an opportunity for a move higher to test 300 or above before tomorrow and before the FOMC minutes. That's what I'm seeing on the NASDAQ. Anything that you're seeing you might want to add? I'll switch to your charts.
No, I think you've pretty much have nailed it. But we had talked on Sunday as well as Monday on the show of us being in this balance range. So I'll show you the ES perspective of this too. Until we, kind of make a run above 810s and go retest the all-time highs, guys, I'd still be potentially looking to at least take a stop out, trying to fade the edges one more time until, unless you really see a lot of enthusiasm from buyers. You didn't see a ton of volume today kind of driving us higher. It seemed like it was a lot of short covering little pops, like, charts would get stop run, they re-enter, get stop run again. And you kind of have these like slow drift up, almost summer-like move like we had today. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't be on that side of it. However, if we were to reject 5,800 again, I'd be looking for that full traverse of this value range once again to go retest the bottom edge of this range. The options kind of have us pegged between two 50-point strikes, and they have for the last 3 sessions. We will see if that continues. I wouldn't be shocked if the FOMC minutes maybe pushes out of this range. Wouldn't that be nice? But who knows? For the time being, I still think it looks pretty good to kind of fade around 5,800 to traverse at least back to the mid 70s if you were looking for a short trade, and then potentially seeing if buyers once again step in there, kind of like they did, I guess during different parts of today's session, or I guess the early parts of today's session, excuse me. But until we kind of break this range, it's the range rules applies. Fade the edges. Otherwise, you'd be looking to want to get long around that, mid 70s for a trip to a new all-time high. That's my read. It's tough to trade this right now, but you're in a range.
Yep, I agree 100%. Before we move on to crude oil, we'll talk about crude, the Nikkei, and then gold. I have a couple questions in the chat. First one, is this real money? Yes. Yeah. This is my live account. I always one of those every night. Next, this is a good one, Nick. I want to know your opinion on this too. What do we think about hyper scalping, super scalping, or a lower time frame? I use a 100 tick chart, and sometimes I do scalp. I don't know what would qualify as a hyper or super or any of that. And it might last 30 seconds to an hour if I'm just in and out, not looking for it to take profit, but my loss, okay, I'm getting in, and I'm like, I'm not seeing what I wanted, I'm out. But what's your thoughts on that?
If you are strategic with your entries, I see no problem with it. You can have tight stops. You can do it like I do, which is, I wouldn't say hyper scalping is the way I trade, but I will enter and take 10 to 20 points on NQ, but I'm also using a 10 to 15 point stop. So, and I'm not re-entering like every, I'm getting 3 points, 5 points or whatever, and then immediately entering another trade. For me, my entries are very defined. So hyper scalping, I don't exactly know what you mean, but I'm sure there is a place for it if you are strategic with your entries and exit. I would be worried with that terminology or just the verbiage you're using does that turn into over trading very quickly because you're just, firing at the clip and you're using something like NQ, which naturally can have, 10 to 12 points of movement without any sort of direction from buyers or sellers being in control. And are you kind of playing off of that where if it moves against you, it can move against you very quickly. So your stops better be tight. But yeah, I think it has a place. I just don't know exactly what you mean by hyper scalping.
Yeah. So I will say this, the majority of the money I make are in trades that last longer than like 30 minutes to an hour. You guys seen me last night. I had abused, was it last night or the night before? I had a Nikkei trade that lasted over an hour, and I traded really well. It worked out. So the majority of my money personally come from the trades that last longer. Like, that's the reality of my trading. I will make an argument. I mean, what works for you no matter what. Like, that's how it is. If you could find something that works for you, keep doing it. I just don't like being in and out really, really quick. For me, the less trades, the better. We've seen some amazing statistics that prove it, and I'm all for the less trades, the better. It's okay to scale in and scale out, like multiple entries and multiple exits. And so I'm okay with that personally. I think you run into unrealistic expectations if you are in and out of the market really fast and a lot of times, for two things: commissions and unrealistic. I'm going to be careful what I say here, Nick. Unrealistic fills. I mean,
Yep.
so there is a difference. I mean, it's as realistic as it can get. A simulated environment and a live environment. Okay. A simulated environment, liquidity is less of a factor. Slippage is less of a factor, and you tend to get better price with your entries and exits. Comparing that to a live account. Live account, you 100% need somebody to take your contract, a buyer for every seller and vice versa. There's more slippage, and you can't really do some things in a live account that I've seen people try and do in a sim account. And that's like buy it, bid, sell it, ask type thing. Does that make sense, Nick? That would be the only thing I would have against.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a few things that I do have against getting in and getting out is lots of commissions, crossing that line of overtrading, and it takes a lot of mental energy. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I could even do it, even if everything was perfect.
James Hansen in the chat just said it. I think if you are a little more greedy with your entries, you can then lean into what Dakota is saying, which is giving your trades some time to play out, and then you have, in theory, better risk reward, bigger winners, potentially less losers, because you're just not working against statistics of being wrong with even a hyper scalp strategy, where it's just basically getting your risk your reward versus your risk actually hitting. So there's probably a good way to do it if you are strategic. I don't like the idea of just entering wherever and trying to scalp a few points against whatever your risk is. I think there is better locations that you can enter a trade and improve your win probability. Excuse me. Gosh, my brain's not working. It's been a long day for me. I've been in the sun all afternoon.
You've been having fun though.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
If you've never been clay shooting, I highly recommend it. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I haven't been out for a while, Nick. It sounds so much fun. But anyway, let's move on. Crude oil. What a very volatile move. Crude oil. I did have a trade in a combine in crude today. I don't want to say I faded the house account, but I just happened to be in a long when I seen they were in a short. I ended up buying 290 down here, and I closed it out for 325. And I'm just bullish crude, and I've been looking for buying the dip opportunities, and I think this could possibly be one where this is a bullish market from here to here. This is bullish, and what I'm going to be looking for is areas to buy it. And so this very well could be an area to buy crude oil. We come down. This is an area of resistance. There's some major resistance around here. Maybe there's a little bit of room to run it. It's a zone. It's definitely a zone. It's not exact. If we look to the left, there is a lot of support and resistance around this 73 level. And so if this is a pivot lower or a higher low, it's not surprising me. And looking for an opportunity to buy this to see if we could find a rotation back up to maybe 75, 75.50 could be something. What's your thoughts on Crude lately? Have you traded it? Do you even watch it? It's just been really crazy.
I watch it when it's volatile. We had talked about it, I think, on Fast Markets yesterday, or what day is today? Today's Tuesday, Tuesday night. Yeah, and I think we had said, I think it was making its run towards 78, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy it there personally. So it's like, if it was to pull back at some point later this week, or in the next round of news cycles, where could you potentially buy it? And we're still above that. I think I said around 72.50s, and I think we didn't get that far. Yeah, got to around 72.75. So I have been watching it this week. I don't trade it. But when it's volatile like it's been, and when it finally gets a directional move, it had been very choppy for the last like month plus. So once it's kind of looking like it wants to start to try to maybe break out, given the headlines in the in the Middle East, and even the potential with the hurricanes that we've had the last couple of weeks, how that can affect energy prices and things. So it has been very tradable. I do know a lot of my trading buddies have been very much in the weeds of trading crude this week, but I have not. I've instead been chopped up by equities for some reason. I just don't know what is wrong with me. I just cannot look at other markets that tend to be trending.
It's perfectly fine though. The grass is always greener on the other side. I've noticed that when you're getting chopped up in one market, it's easy to go to another one and say, oh, that was a lot easier to trade. And then vice versa. I'm always saying stick to the market that you're used to, because you can never know when the grass is greener, if it's really greener, when these moves happen. But yeah, I'm bullish crude. I'm looking at this as a possible pullback and an opportunity to buy it. And so, yeah, I'm going to be looking for opportunities long until we officially make a lower low. So I'm looking for us. If I see some traders in the chat saying the technicals broke down, and maybe based off the way they trade, that can very well be possible. But I'm going to look for us to make a higher or lower high. So I love to see us, I say us, I'm talking about crude oil, have at least maybe a run up to 75. Like I said, I'm not looking for us to get all the way to 78. I'm not looking for us to go break, new highs of the month or for this past week. But I could see a bounce, whether you want to say this is a pullback, and then we're going to look for, maybe we see something like this, and then you're going to look for a continuation down. That's reasonable, because maybe some traders are seeing what we've seen at the end as that bounce and looking for a continuation down. That's fair. That's what makes a market. Buyers and sellers together. However, I'm looking at this as more of a bullish market since the start of October, since the start of all the craziness that has been happening. And so I can very well see us. I mean, why would we not continue until we break this low, and maybe we have that pivot higher and then a lower high and then a lower low, because I'm not seeing any higher, or what do you call it? I'm not seeing a lower high yet. There has not been a lower high made based the way that I'm viewing these markets. So I'm bullish crude. I mean, heck, at any moment there could be a headline that pops up and crude's up $5.
Yep.
So anyway, moving on, we're going to take a look at gold. It is 8 p.m., or it's a little after 8 p.m. We see a spike in volatility on gold. Gold did have a beautiful sell-off. I was looking for us to get down into these 2620s. We did get to 2624. This is the area that possibly can become support. It looks like it became support for a little bit. If we look at this daily chart, it was very simple and straightforward. Like I said, it's always like that. With hindsight, this was the area of resistance back in the middle of September. We did sell off. We got down there, and that so far has become support. So I'm curious if we're going to come back down and find some buying opportunities in gold in these 2620s again, or if we're going to push through. If we take a look at the hourly chart, I think it's more of the same. I think it looks very similar to crude oil, where maybe we wait for some type of reversal pattern here in order to take along, because we just broke through, and I'd like to see a reversal pattern outside of what we're seeing right now. I mean, there's a 3-bar reversal on the hourly chart. I'm going to take a guess you don't trade gold, right, Nick?
I don't, but we talked about that exact same spot on Sunday night, that 2620s kind of area. And just a simplistic look at the volume profile structure on a longer time frame, that is exactly logically where it would make sense that we could have potentially found buyers. We talk about on my show a lot that price is not like necessarily hanging out in low volume nodes like you're seeing here on the right, where basically there's just not a lot of interest in transacting price in those levels. So my price either moves right through it, or it's a place you could always find passive bidders to step back in and push us back up, which is what you saw, I guess, today, or I guess towards the end of today, that 2625 type level. So that's just a simple concept we continue to kind of look for. But that's a way you can kind of, Dakota uses levels like that little different than I do, kind of looking at candle structure and other things in a longer time frame. But you can do it with volume as well, and it kind of makes perfect sense why candles would also work, and as opposed to just looking at a histogram of volume like this. But definitely a good spot. I'm still bullish gold. I'm waiting for 3,000 next year.
3,000 next year. You heard it.
I will die on that hill.
I'm okay with putting my check mark on that too. Nick. I was seeing 2,600 for early this spring. We got there. Now we're at 27. We got there. Are we going to be seeing 28 and get there again? That's a story, right? Keep going with the trend until it's no longer a trend. Oh, there you go. You got it. Nick, your show is Sunday nights. Have it pulled up along with the football. Watching my fantasy team get destroyed all the time.
Yeah, mine is. I'm in a dynasty league that's not doing great. But yeah, you guys can tune in on Sundays. We do an hour-long prep. We go through the big four. We talk about news. We talk about the data releases for the week. We talk about earnings. Now that earnings season's kind of back in the swing, or the full swing again. So we will have the banks this Friday. But we talk about all those things, and it's a good way to kind of not necessarily take trades, but dissect the week in the past and the week ahead, and come prepared with at least a little bit of an aspect of a plan. I'm not giving you guys out levels and all these other things. We just talk about the market structure, where we are, where we may go, and how to potentially interact with certain spots if price takes us there. So if you've never caught my show, feel free to watch a recording of it. There is good content in there, and we're in the same range. So in fact, Sunday's show still is relevant for the equities this week so far, and we're heading into Wednesday.
Yeah, I did miss a trade though, Nick. Now that I'm seeing this, I'm taking a look at Nikkei, which is the Japanese market, and very similar to like the equities today in the U.S. session. We had a beautiful rally, and we had this hesitation right around 39,400, 400s, the mid to lower 400s. We did sell off, and we just bounced off it. So that was resistance. This resistance became support, and I missed it. I missed that trade. I had that Nikkei trade the other night.
This is the Nikkei.
Yeah, the Nikkei, the Japanese market.
I thought it was the Dow. I was like, who are you? I saw like 39,000. I thought it was the Dow. I was not.
Could you imagine? We're scalping the Dow.
I was like, what are you talking about, man?
NASDAQ trader. Let's get to some questions. I'm going to watch the markets. Shout out if you see anything that we could talk about, but let's get to some questions. So go ahead. We have some amazing moderator. Put some in case the chat does move fast, but some interesting things I want to talk about first is Brett's going to be back on TopstepTV. I absolutely enjoy listening to every single time he's on here. Watch the recording 1 or 2 times. And we're talking about trading psychology. I had that big loss the other day, and the first thing I think of is just the trading psychology part. And man, to have him on this frequently on Topstep is something beyond what I'm grateful for. And have you listened to him? I'm sure you have. He's going to be on the 15th.
I do. I do really enjoy when he's on there. I enjoy all the trading psychologists that, the Topstep team gets on here and does for free, kind of letting them just, freestyle a little bit with us on the show and answer questions and, get good moderators like some people like Hogue that can just really get in the weeds with them on certain concepts. And then, I love Jared Tendler. I love others that are in this space too. It can always help you regardless of how far along you are in your trading journey, or even if you've heard and, iterated some of these concepts into your trading in the past. It's always good to kind of reaffirm. I still listen to the mental game of trading when I'm doing random things around the house, or I'm doing housework, yard work, putting up Christmas lights. I always seem to get in a drawdown in November, like around Thanksgiving, because I shouldn't be trading around the holidays. So then I'm putting up lights on my house, and I have Jared's book going on audiobook in my AirPods or something. And it's like very relevant because I always seem to find myself like shortly after Thanksgiving in a drawdown and pissed off and frustrated. So I love having them on there. I think there always is good content, and there's new things that may resonate for me now that didn't maybe the first time I heard that kind of concept, or, it wasn't as relevant to my trading today versus what it was 6 months ago, things like that.
Fair enough. Yeah, trading psychology, man. It's something that we're always getting through. Like, regardless of whether you're brand new at trading or you've been trading for 50 years, it's something we're always going through. I'm always going through it. I know everyone I talk to in the trading world, it's something we never perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It really is not. We always give these sports analogies, and there's a reason why they called it Mamba mentality. It's something that's people work on, and I would have loved to meet Kobe Bryant, is what I'm trying to get at now. I'm thinking of. I never did get to meet him or see him in person.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
All right,
we got ran into him more in Southern California because he lived in Newport, and I randomly around Orange County would hear someone seeing him, but I never got the pleasure.
You lived in California, right? Is that what
I grew up there.
Oh, so why Texas?
Job moved me here, and now there is no job, so I guess that's a good question.
Well,
why did I stay? I guess because of my missus.
Fair enough.
If I was not dating her during COVID and everything kind of locked down, I probably would have sold my house, moved back to Southern California, bought a condo, somewhere in Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Corona del Mar, something small for a single guy. That's probably what I would have done. But here we are, still in Texas, and probably will be here forever.
Hey, that's the beautiful thing about trading, Nick. It is you could do it wherever you have internet.
This is true.
That's what brought me to. What's one of the things that started me into trading, and I know everyone in here could say the same thing. That's a very attractive reason to trade and to be here is the idea that you can do that. It's the dream where you can be somewhere, anywhere around the world, amazing internet, and make good money.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere where they don't have taxes, preferably.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I stay here.
Are they pretty good there in Texas?
No state income tax. Our property taxes are out of this world, but not taking an extra 10% haircut or 8 to 10% haircut is a nice thing.
They do have good property. No property tax, you said?
No, we have probably some of the highest property taxes in the country.
Las Vegas is a good state.
Yes, it is.
When it comes to taxes.
Talk to Rips.
I know. Trust me. I know. I talked to. I mean, we're getting down the line of everyone's going to start asking questions about taxes.
Let's not do this.
Do you agree about removing the daily loss limit?
I do, if you can manage your own risk. I do think it's good for you to set your own, but that's what it should be. That's the most way to simulate your own personal brokerage account. You should be in charge of your own risk. You should know when you're hot and you're trading well, how much you're willing to risk any given day. So you should be setting it yourself. I personally have believed that for a long time. That's one of the reasons I hated, prop trading in the first place, is that somebody else was trying to tell me how to manage my account, and it saved me when I was first starting out. I will say that. But I like the ability to kind of manage my own trades now, especially when I've been able to kind of open up my XFAs a little bit more. If I'm confident in certain trades, if I want to trade a little more size and, still live to fight another day, I can do that with, being able to control my own daily loss limit. Now, it doesn't mean it's a good idea on a brand new 150K XFA to, on one trade, go to $4,500 in drawdown and blow the account. That is not good risk management. I'm guilty of it. I've done it. I'm sure Dakota's done it. We've all done it in our past. I've blown accounts by just having poor risk management, whether it be a personal account or a prop account, things like that. But I like the ability to do it, but you need to know yourself, know your risk, and be responsible, guys. That's probably the best way to answer it.
100%. The daily loss limit is very, very important. Trust me, I know. Not just in a prop firm or in a combine or an XFA, in a live account as well. So I did just get filled long on the Nikkei, the Japanese market. So we'll see how this one works out. Long on the Nikkei, long at 39,500 even. So yes, there is no live account in a combine, and there's no there's no daily loss limit in a combine, and no daily loss limit in an XFA. And I think it's just a it's a difficulty about, we have new traders and very, very experienced traders where, some traders might need their hand to be held to be shown like, hey, this is the right way to do it. And then you have traders where it's like, you need to learn how to manage it yourself. And that's part of the responsibility of learning how to become a consistent and successful trader. And so I see both sides of it. I like that there is no daily loss limit, but I think it's very important for myself and everybody to know that just because there is not one doesn't mean you shouldn't put one there yourself. You have the ability to do it, and I'm always going to be recommending setting a daily loss limit. And once you do get to a live account, you will have a daily loss limit. That's live money. The nice thing is you can have that conversation with the risk management team. I'm in consistent talks with the risk management team. I know you've had your fair share of conversations, Nick, with the risk management team talking about the daily loss limit, where once you're in a live account, there's a lot of flexibility. They want you to succeed. Everybody I have ever talked to at Topstep, myself included, want success. We want to see success. And there's been conversations where I talk to Mick. I'm like, hey, Mick, can I have my daily loss limit at 12,000? And depending on the account size, depending on how I'm trading, he's like, yeah, that's fine. Your account could handle it. And I'm like, okay. And then a week later, I'm like, hey, I'm struggling. Can I have my daily loss limit at 9,000? And he's like, yeah, no problem. Switch it to 9,000. But then there's also been those conversations where I'm struggling a little bit, and I'm like, hey, can I have my daily loss limit increased? And he's like, no, you let's wait until you show some more consistency, maybe in the next trading week or so. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's fair. And I've had Brett, and both Brett and Mick and even Ben. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship sometimes, because I'm like, man, I'm struggling. If I just hit so close to my daily loss limit, I want to place this trade, and I just technically can't because this trade does not fit into the risk parameters, because I'll hit my daily loss limit, and I send him a message or I call him and I'm like, hey, can I have my daily loss limit just for today changed? They're like, no, just lock it up, take the loss. And I'm like, you know what? That's probably best. And then the trade would have lost anyway. And a lot of times when you're so close to your daily loss limit, most of the time you're just going to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
How have those conversations been with you? I mean, you don't have to say if you don't want to, but
I mean, I have tried to raise my daily loss limit once. It was in a drawdown period. I was frustrated. I think I had 2 days in a row where, I'm not kidding, I may have been wicked out, maybe $200 plus of a $3,000 daily loss limit. And then the move that I was looking for, let's say, happened. And this isn't in one trade. This is with $1,600 left of drawdown. And I finally got a very good move. or like the breakdown I was looking for, or the breakout, whatever the situation may be. And I had that, I think, 2 days in a row. And then I like freaked out, called Mick, and I was like, I need $4,000. And he gladly said no. And I never asked for it again. So it's one of those things, like, they know what they're doing. I don't need more than 3. It would be nice. I'd love to trade a little more size in my live account, but I know myself too. If it's 5, I'm going to have days I hit 5. If it's 10, I will have days I hit 10. It protects me. It just allows me to, three is fine for me in my live account. I have no problem, given that I don't keep my balance as high as Coach Dakota at times in my live account. I tend to take payouts and kind of just let the balance build a little bit, take another payout, build a little bit more, take another payout. So I don't need to be slinging, more than 3, like a 3 lot on NQ, and no more than like a 5 lot on ES. So I typically do that, and that with a $3,000 loss limit gets me at least two at bats a day, I would say, with my risk parameters most days. And if I'm wrong, more than 2, more than 3 times, I probably should lock it up for the day as it is.
I like that. How do you like taking payouts? I mean, that's a question I get all the time. I'm still in this long on the Nikkei. We'll watch and see. I'm not seeing anything else move, and so until then, I don't mind doing some Q&A. I mean, if you guys have questions for me, or Nick, if you have questions for me or something that you want to talk about, get it. But I get this question a lot, and it's just, how do you take out payouts? How do I take out payouts? And I think it's just different for everybody. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has a different trading style.
Yeah.
Did you take a payout this week? I think you...
That was the plan. I was going to take a payout on my show on Sunday, but those accounts got moved over to my live account, so I didn't get the opportunity to. So most likely, my funds finally got moved over today, so we're going to trade in the trade in my live account a little bit this week. So maybe we'll take a payout on Sunday on my show, or we'll see. But yeah, I am still planning on taking anywhere between 10 to 25 grand probably in the next week from my live account, basically what I was transferring over, what I was planning to take out. But if we have a good week the rest of this week in that live account, I will most likely take 10 grand plus whatever I made this week and continue to build up the balance. I still like doing that, guys, but we are in a part of the year where I don't necessarily know how many more large payouts I'm going to take, for a couple of reasons, but we will see. I historically have always wanted to take payouts because I'm doing this full time. So it allows me to still pay my bills and do that, but I don't necessarily need to, take money out of the markets to be able to do what I needed to in the past to continue to survive. I've built a nice nest egg trading. I don't necessarily need to take payouts to pay my bills. But historically, if you've never taken a payout and you're eligible, if you have the ability to recoup any of your costs for the education that Topstep provides in this, in the combine system, in the XFAs, I highly recommend you doing it if you've never taken one before. If you have a full-time job and this is, kind of monopoly money, fun money, extra little passive income that you're creating, there's nothing wrong with, doing the risk reward equation of XFAs, where it's like, hey, I spent X to acquire these accounts. I can take a $10,000 payout, a $5,000 payout. It only cost me $750, and I have a real full-time job. So this is all extra money for me. There's a good way to kind of live that mentality and do that math equation to yourself, and, pay yourself, do some nice things for yourself, buy something, that you've been looking for, take your parents out to a nice dinner, things like that you can do with the passive income. So if you have the ability to do that, if you're a good enough trader that you can survive payouts, then by all means take them. But if you're in a situation where, you're not recouping the money and you taking this payout almost will guarantee you blow the account and it took you 10 combines to even get there in the first place, maybe don't take the payout.
Do you have a certain balance that you like to stay around? Because I know when I'm taking payouts in my personal accounts, I mean, it depends on what I'm doing and which account I'm, whether it's options, whether it's I don't want to go into too much detail, but just for example, say I have $100,000 balance, and every month I pull out the profits. Say I have $100,000. Say this month I made $5,000, and at the end of the month I have $105,000. Then I withdraw the $5,000. I mean, is that something that you typically would consider, or do you have a balance?
It's not like necessarily a hard number. Historically, in my live account, I had anything above like 25 grand I used to pull out like weekly. Now I'm just a little looser. It really doesn't matter to me. I take payouts as I need to. It kind of depends. I know a lot of traders keep their futures accounts relatively small because they don't care to trade a ton of size. So when I was trading my personal account, before I really kind of leaned in with Topstep, I would have enough, let's say margin at times that if I wanted to hold a 1 or 2 lot overnight, I could do so and not be worried about it. Getting margin called or dealing with a little bit of drawdown, whatever it may be. But then at the same time, doing that, anything in theory over at the end of the month that was over, let's say that drawdown amount that I like to, I didn't necessarily mean I held positions overnight, but whatever that number is, anything over that weekly, monthly, I used to take the gains out and roll them into my like personal investment portfolio using futures gains to fund long-term stock holdings type stuff is a very good idea. Now, you don't necessarily get the tax advantage of doing that with, trading other things on props and Topstep and things like that. So maybe we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's what I would do with my passive income as well is keep my futures account balance relatively low and then just reinvest the earnings into, my options account, my stock accounts, my 401k. I don't have a job anymore, guys. So for me, having my Roth and continuing to pay into those things too is something I have to do every month. It's the only tax advantage I get these days.
Good. Fair enough. 2 questions. People thinking that this is the house account. This is my house account. I mean,
looks like a combine, sir.
This is my house. This is get out of my house. My personal house.
I don't like that account being at like 150. We need to get you to like 160 or like 170 because it looks like a combine.
I know it does. It does. These are the profits. The 150,000 cash. That's what it is.
That is liquid cash.
Yeah.
It is not monopoly money.
I don't mind if I lose this one. I mean, that's the risk we take whenever we place a trade. 2 questions for you. How important is level 2 to watch? To me, it depends on your trading style. I know with Coach Jay, it's extremely important, and he loves level 2. Like that's part of my trading buddy Rips. It's very important. So a lot of people could argue it's very, very important. If it's not, it's their whole strategy is watching level 2 or having level 2. And then on top of that, this is kind of I don't know if it's a 2-part question, but someone's asking for you, Nick, is you were talking about a 50-point range in the ES, and you said something about options having us pegged in that range for the last 3 sessions. Maybe what do you mean by that?
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Gabe is long the NASDAQ. Gabe, my man.
All right, I am sharing.
Okay, your charts. Man,
there we go. All right, so we're looking at the options gamma data right now. This is longer time frame, and what I mean by that is the 2 largest strikes. I know 5,800 got a little love today, at least on the longer time frame, but on the 0 DTEs, the only strikes that have been any relevance the last 3 sessions, the largest gamma exposure has been 5,700 SPX and 5,750, and we have yet to be able to really push above the 5,750 strike on SPX. In the last few sessions, it just is a place we constantly are finding, sellers re-offering. So until we see the options activity change slightly, or we see a ton of volume to push us above 5,750, it makes sense to continue to try to re-offer around 5,800s in ES for that trip back to kind of the middle ground between those 2 strikes. Naturally, we may gravitate to our 5,770s again, just like we've been doing the last few days, kind of ping-ponging around those levels. And given what we know about options and how it can really act as magnets, it can act as support, it can act as resistance. Until something changes on the tape as far as options activity, it wouldn't surprise me either a ton of volume's got to come in and push us through one of these 2 strikes, or we're just going to continue to balance. And likely we will, when we do break it, it is a type of move that you don't necessarily want to fade or be the first person to try to fade it. So that's what I mean by we are kind of wedged between the two largest strikes. Obviously, like I said, these are longer time frames. So this looks at the entire chain. This is not 0 DTEs. Tomorrow we can look at those as well. But for the time being, basically we are stuck in a 100-point range if we wanted to really include the 5800 SPX strike too. So 50 points higher would get us to air horns in a new all-time high, but we have not seen the volume the last few sessions to push us over these option walls.
That's so interesting. I never correlate those with futures, but I mean it makes sense to me. I mean, how long have you been trading it like that?
At least for the better part of a year. It just has become such a large aspect of the S&P's volume intraday, just because it's made up of 7 stocks. So naturally, when options are bought on even some of the single stocks, it affects the way the SPOOs is priced and how market makers have to position in the SPOOs and other things. So I've used it as long as, at least the last year, because options have become almost 50% of the volume on a 0-day perspective for the S&Ps. It just makes sense to pay attention to. I know sometimes I get on my soapbox and, you could look at me like this is the next Pepe Sylvia type situation here, but this is actually going on. As much as you want to believe it or not believe it, there's something to this. And you could look at a day like Friday, and there's no way you can look at the price action and how we traded and where we opened and where we sold off from and where we rebid off of and where we closed and not say options move the markets intraday when volume is nowhere to be found. It's run by the first and second year traders at the institutions on the options desk. That's who's doing it. And I'm crazy, I guess. It's
We're going to find out in Texas really soon.
Dolby and I are going to go find the Goldman interns and make them tell us.
Yes. What is the level 2 data? What does it look like? This is level 2 data in case anybody's wondering. Let me make it a little bit more clear. You can see over here on the right-hand side, you can see the bids and the offers, bids and asks, and you can see the depth of the market, right? Like 4 contracts, 44333. And then you can see when big orders come in every once in a while. I mean, this is the Nikkei, so it's not too crazy, but that's what a lot of traders like to watch. And you can see where the liquidity is or where orders are stacked, and there's a lot of information, and it could be very beneficial, or if you are new, maybe it could be overwhelming. So that's what it is. Would I recommend it? Sure. Actually, you know what? From a technical standpoint, I don't know. I don't think I can recommend it, Nick. I'd say if you want to learn it, sure. I personally can't recommend it just because of my style of trading. And will I say, does it affect my trading? No. Every once in a while I'll see a big order, and I've been trying to learn it and see how these orders, because I don't stop learning either, Nick. I'm still learning a lot. I learn a lot from you. I learn a lot from Coach Jay and Rips. And so that I am learning it along with everybody else. I still trade purely off of technicals, and that's how I make my money. And the depth of market has nothing to do with the way I trade.
Yeah. Would I recommend it for most people? Yes. Do you need it? Absolutely not. There's other ways to, see that type of relevant information and find other areas to trade. It is cool to look at. It is great to understand the book depth in kind of the full view. But intraday on a short time frame, is it absolutely necessary for somebody who scalps NQ? No, not at all.
Yep, and I agree. Wit right there in the chat says pure dom traders do not use charts much. Yep, and there are some traders who they almost hardly ever look at charts when they're trading. Heck, I could even see Rips not looking at charts trading because like the instinct and the amount of time that he's put in watching order flow and the depth of the market is just unbelievable. And I can understand it. I get it. I can see it because it's something where a lot of times you can see stuff in the level 2 and in the DOM that you can't see on the charts, and it can be an edge. I don't know how to take advantage of it, and I don't know anything about that in terms of how do I utilize it in my own trading, but it is such a beautiful thing. Bookmap is kind of a chart. No, Tommy, I guess, yeah.
It's a
Bookmap.
different way of looking, different way of looking at the order depth, the level 2 data. Probably a better visualization. More people would probably get value out of that than staring at the level 2 on the DOM, to be honest. But it's just a different way to look at the same type of data, I guess.
Yeah, I love when I'm trading and I'm on Topstep TV with Andre and the team. I love trading with you guys, and someone calls out a big order that shows up, and you're like, oh wow. And I've actually started to recognize a little bit. I've lied, and I've actually started to recognize a little bit when I'm getting into a trade, and then sometimes I see like big contracts jump into the bid or in with me. It gives me a little bit of confidence. I'm not gonna lie. There's that little added extra confidence where, say I'm long here, right? And then I see like 100 contracts just come in, and say it's sitting here, and then I watch them try and chase the market up, and I'm like, nice, right? That gives me a little bit more confidence on that. And there's actually been a couple times where I've added to my trade because I've seen a big order do that, and it worked out well. So yeah, maybe it's starting to make me a better trader. I don't know. Time will tell. Heck, maybe this time next year I don't look at charts. Maybe this time next year I'm just have like 5 DOMs up and I'm pure order flow trader.
just 2 hotkeys, buy and sell, nothing else.
Yeah, just 2 big buttons and
a DOM.
I'm still permable though. Nothing's gonna change.
My DOM only has cancel all, buy and sell.
Hey, that's more than what I have. Mine is blank. It has the Stream Deck logo. That's it. That's
we'll
it. This trade's guess what, guys? It's slow markets. This trade's taken forever, but it's still a trade. It's still valid. So I love listening to everyone's opinions. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Opinions. Share your own opinions, everybody. I started a Twitter account, Nick.
He did.
I have not posted. I cannot promise anybody I will even post, but I have it.
Dakota's just going to become a reply guy. Watch. Just reply with like emojis or memes. That's it. Nothing else. No dialogue. Just memes, and it's up to the person who posted its interpretation of is he trolling me or does this mean something?
I might go do some hearts on some of them that I like.
Drop your Twitter. We gotta build this one up.
What's ASMR? Oh, are those ones where they're just making
American
sounds into the mic? Is that what it is?
Everybody go follow Dakota so we can get some great reply guy comments eventually.
We're gonna I'm not I could go out there and start trolling people. No, if I was gonna do that, it would be in a burner account or something. I don't have the time for that, Nick. That's the issue.
I don't either. I at this point I post to, comment on my friends, my trading buddies, support Topstep's community, promote my own show, and I don't have time. I get in the weeds sometimes of like people even I have trolls now too, which is just weird. Because like I'm not selling anything. There's no Discord. There's nothing for me to promote and do outside of just the free content that you and I provide here on Topstep. But I have trolls. I have people saying I'm a paid promoter of Topstep and that I don't actually trade and that my money's fake and paper account this and that. So it is what it is.
That's fun though, isn't it? Is that fun? Is it fun?
I don't know. Is it fun? I don't know.
I mean, some people spend a lot of time doing it. It's fun. Yeah, I'm still not seeing much in terms of trades. It's really slow. And we have FOMC minutes tomorrow, which makes sense. Usually the night before, It's like this, slow markets. I think even the last time I had you on, Nick, it was slow.
It died.
And I don't mind that when you're on. If it's very slow, that I'm okay because I have somebody to talk to and we could chat and BS, talking about what's fun on Twitter. It's all a simulation, paid actors. But what I want to do, okay, so on the serious level, going back into serious, is I would really like to be able to post very, I guess, constructive and valuable things. Like, I do that in the Discord on my Topstep. I'm not as active as I probably should be. But yeah, maybe while I'm not on TopstepTV, and if I do see something good and I see it set up in the markets, I can like post it or talk about it. Or if just something in general, maybe I'm reading a good book and I like something about it, maybe I could post that. I don't know. But finding a way to positively, I don't like the word influence, but bring more positivity into the community. I'm so sick of seeing so much negativity in what has become a very, very common thing. It's so common, all the negativity that I have been seeing. It kind of makes me sad, man. It really does. And I'm like, okay, well,
Right.
if I get it, you're not going to see a single negative thing out of me. I mean, we're professionals at the end of the day. And in no world would you ever see somebody who is a true professional be acting like 90% of what I have seen on social media. And so that is going to be my goal. Is I'm going to go down this journey. I've already announced my goal of trying to get to 1 million by the end of next year in a live account here at this prop account here at Topstep. And I want people to ask me questions, and I want to hopefully share part of that journey with everybody. And I'm going to be treating this as a professional, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
I mean, you'd be one of the few that does that, so I give you all the credit in the world.
Do you think it's even worth it is the next question.
I mean, I don't know. I'm new to this too. My Twitter's like 2 months old. I just went down into that cesspool before, like a couple weeks before you and Jay did.
I know Jay's
on there now too,
which is good. I'm excited. I'm
At least the three of us
actually a
can
bit
clap back
excited
together.
about that. We could talk about these markets and hopefully bring a more positive tone into what's been so negative. So I did have this similar conversation with Jay off screen outside of Topstep, and it's the same conversation I'm kind of having with you, Nick. Is that positivity is what needs to do. And Coach Jay in with the chat is all I do is repost the stuff. But yeah, I think that's what we need. I think that's what we really need is getting our Series 3, getting licensed, being professionals, getting certified, and then bringing that professionalism into what is absolutely needed in a environment that has been lacking it. Man, time goes.
NQ gonna break out here?
Are you looking at NQ?
I just saw it. Looks like it may want to break out.
I'm Gabe's long, right? NQ's pushing. I'm looking to see if we get into these 300s. NQ's, oh my gosh, don't let me look at the market, dude. I switched over to NQ
9 points.
It just tanked 9 points. Oh, we're seeing a spike in volatility.
Oh, I was gonna say we didn't really move much. I guess we had that.
Going on. Something's going on.
I was gonna say this China. Something's happening.
I flatted. I got out of that. I don't want to mess with anything that's moving. This happened to me before, and it's going to be very consistent. I'm sorry, everybody. I mean, even if we do rally here on the Nikkei, I must consider risk first. whenever I see markets move like that, I just get out. It's not worth risk. So I'm flat. That was a... See, I moved. You say it's going to rally. As soon as I look at it, it's just... nope.
Nuked.
Nope. F in the chat for Gabe's trade. How you doing, Gabe? Maybe he took profit. I didn't really see what Gabe was looking for.
What's the old Call of Duty thing? Press F to pay respects.
Stopped out, small loss. Oh, good job. Gabe's been a pretty good trader. I think he was even trading in micros and was doing that combine thing. So shout out.
Yeah, Gabe, how was the new XFAs? I know you were on. I think you had 5 of them.
Is that the thing I did? Is that still a thing? F in the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
Press F to pay respects or something.
Okay, yeah.
Show respect.
What was the old Call of Duty thing?
That was it. I don't know. It was someone in the chat knows this. I just know the meme at this point because I never played whatever Call of Duty that one was. I guess it evolved from there to a Twitch thing according to the chat. Maybe it became on Twitch because of that. You press F to pay respects, or F in the chat. I don't know. This is like post my time when streaming really became like a thing. You know, with gaming and stuff, it was not a part of my time. This is all new to me.
Really? I mean, how old are you, Nick? You're not much older than I am.
I'm in my mid-30s.
Okay, so you're about mid older than I am then. I'm turning 31 in this month. What do they call it? Quarter life crisis.
Quarter life crisis.
Quarter life crisis. Yeah, I'm not seeing much happening in these markets. That was one heck of a violent move.
Dump for no reason.
Now, this is the thing. It is when you are in, and so here's a bit of value in what just happened. You never know what this is. We are always going to be one of the last to see what happens. Someone says that was a missile strike. And see, that's what I'm saying is the market will almost always know before we do. Like, that's the reality of it. People are paying millions and millions of dollars to get information before we do, to trade in the markets, right? To make money. And so that this is number one is why stop losses are so important. And number two is we trade what we see and we trade what's in front of us, not what we think is going to happen. Because we're humans. We cannot beat multi-million-dollar funds in something like that, in that type of a situation. And so if you see the market doing something, don't sit there and try and figure out what just happened. Either manage your trade first, control risk, and then you could take the time and find out what happened later. So the chart will usually tell you before anything else. Very similar move happened yesterday. Turned out to be the low of the day. So that the low of the day? Is that what we're looking at? Coach Jay, where did it? Google breakup headline. I'm not sure. Click the arrow next to the rectangle. I see that. I see it. Fed speakers yesterday. Oh, yeah, that was Fed speakers yesterday. Well, I mean, that's all I have for tonight, everybody. I mean, one trade. I got out. Had a good conversation with you, Nick. And anything else that you want to add? I mean, we have 10 more minutes, and I know it's really slow. And maybe something that we want to talk about. Maybe, is there anything you'd like to do in terms of a segment for Tuesday nights when you join me?
No, nothing specific. I feel like you and I end up getting on random tangent conversations too. For some reason, I'm killing. I mean, I know that it's slow markets and volatility is, if you get it, great. If you don't, that's pretty normal. I feel like we just haven't had any since I've started coming on these Tuesday nights with you. I don't know what that
Tuesdays.
is. It just is really dying. And also just, I don't know. We had the debate, and I don't know. It's been a weird couple weeks.
Tuesdays has Tuesday nights
Sucked.
has been nothing, especially with a big news event tomorrow. Yeah, let's figure that out because I would really want to do something consistent. I know we could regularly do our rapid fire, but you don't trade all of the markets that I trade. So I think it's also very important to maybe spice it up a little bit for everybody. So in the chat, I would love to get your feedback. I'd love to get your feedback, Nick, on how our Tuesday segment could be. I have Coach Jay on with me on Wednesdays, you on with me on Tuesdays, and I would like them to be a little bit different than the regular slow markets, but I'm really curious on improving and what you think we can do for Tuesday nights, especially when we see low volatility like this. Of course, trading is going to be priority. When the markets move, we're going to trade. But when there is something like this, what do? Sit on our hands, watch. I have weights. I have like Netflix, eating, doing something. But when I'm in front of a camera and hanging out with you, Nick, I mean, do we talk going down to Texas and doing fun things? I don't know.
Doing redneck things with me and my friends. Yes.
Yeah, that's maybe
I
we
invited
talk.
Jay once upon a time too to come search for some invasive species with thermals.
What did he say?
He said he was in.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's plan on that.
Challenge, to be honest.
Can we get it together? We haven't.
Well, we can definitely plan it. We have land. It's not going to be developed for years and years and years. So it's like we can do it shotgun at the hip with the right people. It's not my land, so I can get it. I can get it together.
Coach Jay says, was that a real invite? What would be your timeline for that?
Now my timeline goes to sometime early next year because I'm about to be on lockdown for a couple months.
Okay, so let's get it next year when we have time. Me, you, and Jay will head out to Texas, and maybe we could do a slow markets together. Maybe we could do a stream together. I don't know, and then go take care of some invasive species at night.
That would be a lot of fun. We'll have to maybe we'll have to start a new channel for the second live stream.
We'll get
Topstep After Dark.
We're gonna get Topstep's YouTube channel banned.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Danielle, don't hate us. We're not gonna do that.
Like, man, they're doing some weird stuff after dark on slow markets. I don't know what's going on. We might have to start cutting the programming for what we're doing. But on that note, it's actually the exact opposite.
Jay started the After Dark channel already.
I know. Charts After Dark. That was something else, man. I'll never forget that night where he calls me literally 5 minutes before my slow market starts to ask me to delete that live stream. But another thing about Topstep before we end it there is Topstep is always continuing to add value and put on these new things for everybody here in the audience. And we now have you, amazing trader, on the leaderboard, taking payouts. You have your own segment on Sundays. We have, D on the London session. We have Coach Jay doing At the Buzzer. I'm doing my slow markets class, and it's just continuing to grow. We just passed the 1 year mark for TopstepTV, and it's just crazy where we started, where I seen it start, to where we are at now. Over 123,000 subscribers. We have the leaderboards. We have the VIP. We have so much. It's an amazing thing to see. Well, I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
Don't really want to force
We got
anything.
a little excited that something was about to happen, and then nothing happened.
I know. It was. I hate that. Don't you hate that? But it got me out of a trade. It looks like it might just run my stop loss anyway. So other than that, thanks everybody. Take care, and I will see you guys tomorrow. When's the next time you're going to be on, Nick?
I'll be on Fast Markets tomorrow morning, I think, with Rips.
Ooh, okay. Well, tomorrow morning, you and Rips are going to tear it up. I'll be on during the Power Hour. We have FOMC minutes tomorrow. And if I don't see you then, you'll see me and Coach Jay tomorrow night. Thanks, everybody, and take care.